imagine that all the oil of the United States, all the tax on oil, is owned by, I don't know, Dutch company. It's the state of my country. I remember it. It was like 13 years ago. So, and it took time. It took time to fight these networks. And, for example, the famous Munich speech of Vladimir Putin at Munich conference, it was the first challenge of globalism from a national leader of a big country, happened 7 years after Putin came into office. So we definitely need the second term for Donald Trump team, because it took us Russians 7 years to start the process.
And by the way, now the dominoes are falling. So Russia deserves the credit for kicking the dominoes over, and the globalists admit that. That's not refuted, and they say it with horror. You got cut off by a break 30 minutes ago. I'm glad you mentioned that. What about the meeting, the picnic with the oligarchs early on?
Yes, so it was a famous meeting with oligarchs, like maybe a year after Putin came into power, and he declared officially and openly to them the new rules, saying that all the major businessmen or oligarchs, as we say, need to become national and work for the interest of the state, or if they keep on being globalists, the state will need to defend itself and the people from them. So the majority of them fled to London and to other countries, but the majority of them are in London, like Boris Berezovsky. Some of them fled to Israel, like Mr. Gusinski. And I can tell you that all of them, it's funny, they all owned major media in the country. Berezovsky owned First Channel, it's like CNN. And Gusinski owned NTV, it's like...
And there were also lawsuits. It turned out a bunch of them were fronts for the Rothschilds. The Rothschilds sued, and then in court, the judges said, no, it turns out the Rothschilds have been running Russia for 80 years.
Yeah, definitely. And still, for example, our central bank does not report to our government. And it's a big problem because the globalists are doing everything.
That's key. You're saying 18 years later, Russia still hasn't drained the swamp fully.
We're still 1 foot in the swamp. We have our army, we have our special services, we have our foreign ministry, but the economy and the finance, where the globalists are the strongest, is still a problem.
Well, I was about to say next, it's funny because I was always critical of our special services. I knew it was infiltrated and run by bad guys. But it was in this last election, they saw it was all real. It was the military, it was good elements of the CIA and other agencies that actually got the intel out. WikiLeaks, it wasn't the Russians, and all of it. And actually, that's now the main line with Trump is the military, particularly the Army and the Marine Corps now, against the globalists to return the country. It's not that they're perfect. They just think America should run America. We're not going to use it to fund world government. We're not going to be used like Russia to do all this. I mean, they use that as an example. They know. How can they ever go back now, Andre, now that the cat's out of the bag, now that the program's out?
Well, Alex, the main objective for all of us, for all the people here in Russia, for all of you fellow Americans who support nationalism and tradition and Christianity, is installing public relations with each other without globalists. We need to create our own networks to deliver truth. I am like ultra imperialist in a good way Russian who supports Russian empire, and I tell you Americans, please be sovereign and strong. I don't tell you be weak. I don't tell you that we want to conquer you. I tell you be strong and defend your national interests and not the interest of a bunch of globalist oligarchs. That's the difference. We all need to be strong. We all need to defend our national interest. It doesn't mean that Russia and US always have the same interests, but we need to discuss them as national sovereign countries and not as different departments of a big transnational corporation. That's how they want to see us.
And by the way,
I urge America to be strong.
Absolutely. I watched some of the Putin speeches and things, and he says the same thing. Be strong. Take your country back. And once you do, we want to do business with you. We have a lot of resources. We're ready for business. It sounds like it sounds like John Wayne saying, let's do business and let's be Christian. And that's what pisses off Hollywood. It's so obvious, Andre. It's sick.
Well, definitely. And the more we talk about that, the more we expose them. Both here in Russia, we still have a lot of problems. You see, Ksenia Sobchak is coming to Washington.
Now, you have your own problems, but I noticed that they said, oh, Putin really wanted Hillary. Well, he hedged his bets. I watched the Duma when Trump won. People were crying. They were celebrating. That's what I saw.
But we were happy not because Trump is a Russian agent. We're happy because Trump was a chance for us that globalists that control the United States would leave us alone and let us live the lives we want to live. And that's the point.
Well, that's right. And my God, I couldn't imagine how many Russians and Ukrainians and Poles did the leftists that took control from the U.S. kill. I mean, I actually feel like we should apologize to Russia, even though I wasn't alive then, that America let the leftists come over there and gang rape the hell out of you.
Well, unfortunately, it was also made on American money, on the globalist money. We know that Trotsky came to Russia from New York, where he has relatives.
That's right. It's all historic, and now they run the neocons. We're all going to come together, though, to defeat this. All right, Andrei Afanasyev, thank you. Well, come back on David Knight, on any of the shows, any of the broadcasts. We want to have you on with the War Room, you name it. Very powerful truth. Joel Gilbert joins us for the balance of the hour. Here is the trailer for the powerful new film available at InfoWarsStore.com. Trump, The Art of the Insult, directed by the amazing director Joel Gilbert. Here is the trailer.
Call women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs.
Only Rosie O'Donnell. And they said that wasn't politically correct. Who cares? You haven't been called. Go back to Univision. I think Jeb is a nice person. He's very low energy. I'm not used to that kind of a person. Throw him out. Throw him out into the cold. Don't give them their coat. No coats. Lyin apostrophe. Lion dead. I have never seen a human being eat in such a disgusting fashion. The most dishonest human beings. These people right here. Look at all the cameras. So disgusting. This socialist/communist, crazy Bernie. He's crazy as a mid-bug. Pocahontas, the Indian.
Very offensive.
I'm sorry about that. Pocahontas. Crooked Hillary, Bob. She's been crooked from the beginning. Crooked Hillary. Politicians are really dishonest.
Donald Trump alleges that my dad was involved in assassinating JFK.
This had nothing to do with me, except I might have pointed it out. This guy was sweating so badly. Thank God he has really large ears, the biggest ears I've ever seen, because they were protecting him. I'm trying to be nice. You know, I'm working hard to be nice. He was begging for my endorsement. I could have said, Mitt, drop to your knees. He would have dropped to his knees. He put glasses on so people will think he's smart. It just doesn't work. You know, people can see through the glasses. I'll make 3 or 4 major speeches. He makes a speech for 15 minutes. He goes home, goes to bed. We live off Chinese manufacturing. That's because when you say we, you are stupid.
Repeat after me. Donald, you're not going to be able to insult your way to the presidency. That's not going to happen.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
We will make America great again. Go home to mommy. Tell her to tuck you in bed. And your mother is voting for Trump?
You made a lot of amazing films. You carried them all. You sell them all. They're all groundbreaking. But this one is fun and very, very celebratory. So congratulations on what you've done. It's really a special film.
Thanks a lot. Look, I urge everyone, you got to get this film in the Infowars.com store. First of all, you'll laugh nonstop the whole time. But more importantly, there's a lot of important lessons. You'll see how middle America fell in love with a Manhattan billionaire because he was the only one of the Republicans that was willing and capable of standing up to Hillary and the leftist media complex. And he did it, don't forget, with a mix of truth and humor. That's why it stuck. So this film, 95 minutes of nonstop laughter, but you get to know Donald Trump. I thought I knew Trump. I studied Trump. I thought I knew him. Only when you see this all back to back, how he reacts from the heart. He speaks from the heart. He said what he said. He meant what he said. Even if it's a little inarticulate or doesn't quite make sense, people understood he was
exactly. They say Trump's a fake. It's the opposite. All right, InfoWarsStore.com, ladies and gentlemen, get the new film.
And your mother is voting for Trump?
You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Welcome back. It's Doug Hagman, syndicated TV and radio host, incredible intel source there on the East Coast. The president giving a speech at one of the new factories that's expanding here in the United States as we see record acceleration of our economy after just a few of the globalist constraints have been removed. Talking about we have them now. We've caught them with the memo. 5 new memos coming out, as we told you. This is just the blueprint of the treason. Then we get them to lie in the media. Then we release the new information exposing them. Not that we're masterminds. The 5D chess is we're not lying. The 5D chess is we mean well. The 5D chess is we're not out to screw you. And these criminals never get that. They think they're so smart being criminals. They don't get just being straight shooting is what built America and not being cowards. So here's the president.
I think everybody's going to be supportive. We need people that are going to do a great job and keep us in the right direction. You know? Yeah. We need them badly, too. Or it all goes back to where it was and worse. Oh, but did we catch them in the act or what? You know what I'm talking about. Oh, did we catch them in the act? They are very embarrassed. They never thought they were going to get caught. We caught them. Hey, we caught them. Oh, it's so much fun. We're like the great sleuth.
Nothing succeeds like success. I'm going to turn this over to Doug Hagman. I appreciate hosting this hour. We had that incredible guest and ran over, but I can't wait to hear what he has to say. We're not out of the woods yet, but let me tell you something. We were getting our ass handed to us. They're getting their ass handed to them right now. As long as we continue to move forward with that spirit, we are unstoppable. Doug Hagman, what you got coming up today for us?
I'm going to lay out some that we have not heard yet. The difference between Title I and Section 702. Donald Trump saying that we got him. Boy, do we ever have him. And it's worse than people really believe. So I'm going to break this down. Also, the 5 different memos you're talking about, get into that a little bit more. Information packed. Just looking forward to the next few segments.
Doug, let's talk about the president's statement then. We have you now. Let's discuss where that goes and how they may strike back. Take over, my friend.
All right. Thanks, Alex. And I appreciate the opportunity to sit for you. I'm going to tell everyone right now, look, the evidence is undeniable. The Nunes memo that was released last Friday, of course, is just the start, just the tip of the iceberg. Because what is coming next, the underlying documentation, the foundational documents for that executive summary that we saw, is going to be so damning, so critical, so it will infuriate even, I believe, even members of the left of center. That's how bad this is. This is an attempted takeover, as Alex has said, as David Knight has, as everyone has said. This is an attempted takeover of our country, of our Constitution, not just the president, not just the office of the presidency, but of every one of us, to reverse the election and also to install the globalists. Now, if you listen to the last hour with Andre from Russia, so much important information there, and how this all ties together, because at the root of everything, it's the globalists. It's the people who are attempting to manufacture and orchestrate, and whether through warfare or bombs, bullets, or ink. Well, it used to be ink, I guess, but now the excitement of electrons over the airwaves. What we're seeing is now the pushback against the orchestration of the globalists, and now it's all coming apart. The wheels are coming off their globalist bus. George Soros is driving in the globalist bus, and the wheels are coming right off. I mean, get that, and we're winning. We are winning, and and that's a good thing. The globalists are afraid. They're scared. We've got them on the run. And a critical component of all of this is knowledge. And I've gotten a lot of emails over this past weekend from people who said, really appreciate everything that you're saying. Really appreciate everything Alex is saying. But what are we going to do about it? Well, exactly what we're doing about it. This is, as Alex says, an information war. And we need to get in front of the information. We need to keep educating the people, our neighbors, our friends, our colleagues. The people will listen. We can win on the numbers, and we will win on the numbers. Don't ever give up. We have to unite, and we have to present a united front. And the fact is, this war is really going hot. What I have discovered and what the information with respect to FISA surveillance, it has so big. You think it's bad? You haven't heard how bad it actually is or was. There was a piece by Cheryl Atkinson this weekend. The difference between a Section 702, the traditional FISA surveillance, versus a Title I surveillance, and what happened to Carter Page. When you hear this, when you hear the results from this, when you understand exactly what they have done with respect to Carter Page, what Lynch and Comey. But it all lies at the desk of Obama. When you hear what they have done and how they entrapped Carter Page and others within the Donald Trump concentric circles of influence, you will be astounded, you will be amazed, and you will be angered, because this information, I'm bringing you a lot of information. So getting right into it, Cheryl Atkinson, and this was reported by the Conservative Treehouse as well. Cheryl Atkinson had made a very important distinction about what the memo, the executive summary memo, really got into. And inside the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, that memo, a key distinction that has been conflated, or people really are not understanding, the difference between a Title I versus a Title VII surveillance. Now, you might think, oh, man, this is boring. Leave me alone. I don't want to hear this. No, you got to hear this, because, and it's not that difficult. It's simple. And look, I've been involved as an operational asset with the Department of Justice and the FBI back in the 90s. Forgive me for that, okay? But nonetheless, I understand what it takes to get a warrant. I understand what it takes to get a search warrant, to get a wiretapping warrant. I understand what it takes to go before a U.S. attorney. I understand what it, as an operational asset, what it takes to verify my bona fides on a warrant application. Now, I'm not talking about a FISA warrant. I'm talking about a regular Title VII or a regular court, U.S. Magistrate Court warrant. So I get it. But what happened here, the process was not just short-circuited. What happened here was that the Department of Justice, the FBI, was so infiltrated by deep state operatives working exactly for Hillary Clinton.
That they turned off all the fail-safe controls and engaged in fraud.
There it is. There it is. And it wasn't an oops. This was a, we're going to do it this way. And this is exactly what happened. And how, but the diabolical nature of this, Alex, is, I got to tell you, they took Carter Page in 2016 and just did not make him or describe him as a potential Russian asset. Title I designates him as a Russian spy, period, full stop. And what happens there, and as Cheryl Atkinson and Conservative Treehouse reported, he is like patient zero in an Ebola pandemic, because everyone he contacts, everyone he's got contact with, everyone who calls him, emails him.
They convicted him like he was Osama bin Laden.
Exactly. But not only just Carter Page. If I typed an email to you mentioning Carter Page, whether it's in the body or the subject line, because it's a Title I surveillance as opposed to Section 702, because we could...
It's a total dragnet. We're going to break. You're on fire. Doug Hagman, straight ahead. Stay with us. Spread the live links. I started working with some of the top labs in the country many years ago, but intensely the last year, to bring out a lot of new brands. And I said, what is the cleanest, healthiest thing that goes after seasonal distress, the things that pollen and dust and all the trees and plants cause, but that doesn't have even herbs in it that speed up the metabolism and get you in a heightened state? Because sure, you're all jazzed up, your body's going to ignore the fact that it's under attack. I said, what naturally deals with it, but helps the body in its own way actually heal it? And they said, well, that is Japanese quail eggs, type of quail, Japanese quail, fed a specific diet by the French. They discovered this like 40 years ago. It's now patented, now documented, but it's got better rates in the studies than placebos and then a lot of other products that are out there. So I continue to marvel at Mother Nature and what God gave us on this planet, because the results we've gotten, just in the office, people with serious issues with pollen, with dust, you name it, the results we've gotten with the pollen block have just been insane. And it just makes my head spin. Why did I not, suffering from this for so many years, not know about it? When it has alleviated my issues, like I said, 70%. I mean, it has been a game changer. I still sneeze some. I still have a little burning in my sinus, but the pounding headaches, the fog is gone. And that's what personally happened for me. See what happens for you. Give us your review. We'd love to hear what you have to say. InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com, pollen block, 51% off out of the gates at InfoWarsStore.com. This is the best deal we've ever offered on our flagship product, DNA Force. And it's got a very interesting story behind it. I was at a medical doctor's clinic facility that had top-of-the-line nutraceuticals and was noticing that they were $200 to $400. And then I talked to my dad about it, who is a physician, and he said, absolutely, this is the biggest area in nutraceuticals and supplements is longevity and keeping your telomeres in place. You can't make telomeres grow. You can just make them not shrink as fast. Well, I designed DNA Force with Dr. Group. And Dr. Group's a great guy, but then we were going to come out with Cell Force because I was able to find just as good of the same compounds for a lower price and was able to develop Cell Force. And Group liked the formula so much, he said, listen, we were going to come out with DNA Force Plus. You just use that name and do it because this is such an incredible formula. And I understand you're going to one of the biggest labs in the country. And so you were able to scale up in a lower price. And I want to do that. He was so classy. He just said, you just put out DNA Force Plus as Cell Force, or vice versa. Because I was partnering with him on that. That's how classy he is. So Cell Force is a limited run. When it's gone, it's gone. It will be called DNA Force Plus because it's stronger than the old DNA Force and it is less money. So it's a good deal normally at $149 like DNA Force was, then we'd sell it for $99 on sale. We're selling it for $70.45. Used to, that's almost what it cost to make a bottle of DNA Force. Well, now we've lowered the price on the ingredients by buying even more. Just as high qualities, we're lowering it for you. This is the best